Hey, how's it going? I'm Hagar. Thank you so much for joining me for this moment to explore 8-8 Lionsgate. Here's the thing. This is Mama Mandala, a space to grow the circle of who we are and to keep connecting it to something greater than ourselves. A space to connect and weave together stories, mythology, and archetypes into our bodies, into our lives, into a relationship with each other, into the planet, into our relationship with something greater than ourselves. Possibly, perhaps even something greater than humanity. Oh, really? Not an anthropocentric lens to look at everything? Fabulous! I'm really glad you're here. And 8-8 Lionsgate is being argued about all over the internets. It's true, it's not true. Who cares if it's true or not true? Let me break the news. Astrology is something that people made up, right? The fact that it's made up doesn't mean that it's not real, doesn't mean that it doesn't have tools and aspects and ideas that are helpful for us. Everything that's humanly made is an invitation to doubt, to question, to explore, to grow, to expand ourselves through, to expand our relationship with something more than ourselves through. So we get to be in this space not for believing, not for saying, this is what 8-8 is, this is what Lionsgate is, but rather, what could it be? What can we make it? So what is 8-8 Lionsgate? So apparently some people think and see that this is a moment in time where the sun, our individual sun, the solar system's sun, aligns with a star that is like its own sun, like its mother, its caretaker, that which gives it energy. So what a beautiful idea. It's an invitation then for us to connect the part of us that shares with the world. If we think about the Leo archetype, the expressive, the artistic expression of who we are, the ability to radiate ourselves like the sun and share ourselves. And because of our power, our heat, our strength, our expression, others can have possibilities of existence. So, right, it has a shadow, it has a very thin line that can drop us into a narcissistic space. So we want to keep that in check, obviously. But it's our ego, not necessarily in a bad way. Our ego is needed. We need to be an individual presence in the world, as long as we don't forget that we are also part of something greater than ourselves. And that's, in a way, Lionsgate 8-8, the invitation for our own most individuated, most individual, expressive qualities to connect not only to that which it shares with for those that revolve around its life force to exist, but rather to also align and connect with that which gives it energy, that which gives our own individuated self, the part of us that then can share itself, something greater than ourselves, that feeds us, that nourishes us. So what a gorgeous space to be in, right? So it's an invitation. I think of Lionsgate as an invitation for our individual self to connect to the presence of something greater than ourselves, to imagine the energy around us, so that the greater sun of our sun, right? That which this sun aligns with is Sirius. It's the dog star, or the wolf star. It's from the dog or wolf constellation. And so it's an invitation to connect our own individuated self with the power that is greater than ourselves, that is nourishing us, that is loyal, right? That is committed, that keeps showing up. And it's relational. So the dog is very loyal to the person, to the human, and we've cultivated a relationship that creates reciprocity. So dogs became domesticated because it was worth it for them. Humans gave them food. And on the other side of it, dogs helped protect the human culture, right? And guard, because they were able to smell and hear other strangers that might be coming, and that was a very helpful relationship on both sides. So when we bring ourselves into this moment, we can consider what am I in reciprocity with, and what maybe isn't reciprocal. What is it that may ask for a shift in how I'm being? What can I do to show up to both receive and offer in the relationships that I have with that which surrounds me, maybe that which cycles around me, and with that which I'm possibly cycling around, that which I am receiving power and strength from. And it's an invitation to allow ourselves to be guided by our own inner voice, and by more than our own voice, right? We want to bring ourselves into a space where we're deeply connected inside ourselves and listening to our own voice, our own truth. And it cannot be just about us. It cannot be just about, well, this is what my truth is, with a capital T. There's more than you. There's more than me. There's more than us. The invitation, possibly, if we want to receive it, is to trust ourselves, trust our lives, and bring ourselves then into a relationship with something greater than us that we can receive as a supportive guide, a supportive guard, right? And dogs in so many cultures, in ancient cultures, were guardians, and they were guardians of the threshold, right? We have Cerberus from the Greek mythology that guards the gate of the underworld, making sure that the dead stay dead, right? And with his 3 heads and his serpent tail. So there's a liminality to dog. There was also a dog in the Hindu tradition that was accompanying Yama, the god of death. And also we have Rudra from the Vedas that then later on in Hindu cultures becomes the character we know as Shiva, who is wild and ferocious. It's the wild part of us. And dogs in Hindu tradition are considered not holy, right? On the outskirts of society. So we have this relationship with an aspect of ourselves when we show up to the place where the lion and the dog meet, where the lion, who represents the courage of the heart, meets the loyalty and the caretaking and the showing up aspects of the dog. And then both have this wild capacity. And then the lion takes us into the place where we are sovereign, where we are royal, right? The parts of us that are kind of like the master of our own life, of our own domain, of our own individual character. And then we have the dog, who holds that liminal space between wild and domesticated, between the living and the dead. And this is the time of year that invites this conversation, because we're in the star Sirius, which, by the way, this is what's great, is that astronomically we know that it's made of 2 stars, Sirius A and Sirius B. There's even a conversation of possible Sirius 3. But it just reminds us that this thing that may appear to be one is always more than one. That the reality that we experience has many aspects and sides to it. That one breaks itself, shatters itself into 2 and 3 and many. That we are always in relationship, and that there's always more than one thing that is true. So our own truth, with a capital T, that is talked about so much in spiritual traditions, is, it must be in relationship with with more than just our own truth, because there's also facts, because there's also somebody else's truth. So it's always relational. And the way that Sirius is made of really actually 2 stars reminds us of that, reminds us to tap into a complex and ambiguous space where when we're opening ourselves up to support of something greater than ourselves, it can be, if you're like me and you're a non-believer, it can be, I'm going to give myself to this, I'm going to breathe, and I'm gonna show up in relationship of trust with this greater thing that I'm a part of, and I'm gonna doubt it, I'm gonna question it, I'm gonna explore it from different angles. I'm gonna not necessarily let that trust be on a religious kind of a level. We get to practice sacred secularity if we wish to. We get to be more than one thing. And so here we are in that threshold, in that liminal space between things, right? Between Sirius A and Sirius B, between the sun of the solar system and a star brighter and bigger that is said to be nourishing it with power. And we get to be with the liminality, you know, like I think of the dog always accompanying the Greek goddess Hecate, right? Who is the witch goddess and who always walks in the liminal space. She's able to go between the worlds, between the underworld and the world of the living. She's one of the only characters who gets to do that. She's always accompanied by dogs. And that's one of the sacred familiars of Hecate. And she's the goddess of crossroads. So, and every moment is a crossroad, right? So we can go, oh, 8-8 Lionsgate, this is my opportunity. And we get to say, yeah, and every moment, every breath is a threshold, an opportunity, a portal through which we can go and redefine, recreate, restructure how we're being and who we're being and how we're interacting with what's happening to us and in our lives and with others. So we get to change. Every moment is a portal. And so in this moment, in the 8-8 Lionsgate, perhaps in the liminality of the dog, we get to consider what are some of the things that I'm learning this year. So we've passed the middle of the year, right? And this is the moment in the season where we're still in the heat of summer. So Sirius actually means the scorching one, because in Greek, because it came probably, so what happens right now is that Sirius rises with the sun in the morning, and then we don't see it, right, throughout the day. But it rises with the sun, and this was the time of year in ancient Egypt that was the hottest, right? It was the time of year where it did feel like the sun scorches the land, where it's just bringing us ever so close to the moment of death, because there's no water and the heat is oppressive. And then right in that moment, and this is why Sirius was also considered in ancient Egypt to be the star of Isis and the presence of Osiris himself, her beloved, her brother and her lover. This was the time of year where then the flooding of the Nile arrived. So it's the scorching one because it's the brightest in the sky, and also the time in the year is when the sun is scorching. So it's associated with the scorching of the sun. But then with it comes this moment of rejuvenation, of refreshing water flooding, the river rising and bringing fecundity and fertility to the land that was a moment ago scorched and dry and had no life in it. So it's an invitation again to the liminality of death and rebirth, of life and death. And Osiris is the god of, in ancient Egyptian tradition, the god of refracturing and dismembering and falling apart, and then coming back to life, finding ways of being regenerated and recreated. And this is the story of the Nile, and it's we go really deep into it if you want to check it out in the Lunasad somatic ceremony. And it's a celebration of exactly this season, this time of year. And there's a deep mythopoetic exploration there. And there are 5 sessions going with the 5 elements to explore and interact with the stories, but in our bodies. And there's tons of journal prompts or prompts that you can bring into conversation with others, and also another session of just meditation and pranayama. So it's a really powerful way if you want to bring into your body this season, this phase in the season. There's a whole session there where we play with Sirius if you want to check it out. I'm going to leave a link in the description of the video or in the bio, wherever you're seeing it, whether it's on Instagram or on YouTube. So check it out. It's a powerful way for you to weave this into your life. And we go deep into the story there of Osiris and Isis. So I won't go too deep into it right now. But this is the moment where we get to seasonally be in the abundance and in the peak of summer, but seeing from this perspective also how close the fall is. How this is the peak of life, but it's now taking us a little more close to death and to breaking down. And in this moment, there's also then the rejuvenation and regeneration of the river, of the Nile, of Osiris. So there's a lot of layers, a lot of possibilities, a lot of things we can play with. And since we're connecting and aligning with a supportive presence, you can ask yourself, you can journal about it. What are the most supportive qualities and energies and people in my life right now? And who am I supportive of? Who am I supporting? How do I align the ability to be nourished and to bring nourishment? How do I receive and offer? And who do I do it with? Because if we think of the dog, one last thing to remind us, dogs they're a pack, right? And we have sometimes Sirius is considered the wolf, right? Who is very much of a pack animal and also has the urge to individuate, the urge to be a lone wolf. And it's both, as how do we, and I feel that so much because I have a family, I have 2 kids, I have a husband, I have my parents and my sister who I'm so close with, and my niece. I have my friends who are dear to me in ways that I cannot describe it in words, the people in my life that are so supportive of me and who I want to show up for as much as I can. And I have this loner side, this part of me that wants to go off and do things on my own, to be in solitude in nature and not be around and be just around the plant world, right? So we can be, again, we're meeting Sirius A and Sirius 1, right? We're meeting the bifurcated reality of who we are. The fact that things align not by aligning, not by matching, but by contradiction and contrast and paradox and complexity. And so with the dog, we get to connect to our community, to our communal qualities, and to the question, who is my community? And it doesn't need to be just humans, right? Who am I in collaboration with? And how do I keep bringing together myself into something that is more than myself, right? And it's not, with Leo, we have this leader quality. And then the Lion's Gate reminds us that, the leader is also led. And that the leader, if we go back a little bit to the moment where the moon is full in Aquarius, that the leader is the community, that the spotlight keeps moving around the circle. So these are just some thoughts. Go ahead and check out the Lunicized Somatic Ceremony. You're going to love it. If you love this, you're going to love that so much more, because it takes us really deep into an exploration of myths and then practices to bring it to life into our own bodies. So go check that out. Check out mamamandala.com. It's all there. And I'm so grateful that we got to spend this moment together. I hope this brought something for you. And if it did, put a like on it, will you? Will you put a like on it? It will help me. Share it with others. If you love it, share it. And if you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. If you're watching it on Insta, follow me, will you? And please join the mailing list of Mama Mandala, because you are going to love the writings and the explorations that are going on there. Okay? I'll see you soon. Okay. Thank you so much. Mwah.